Welcome, students, to the continuing session on financial management. I once again welcome you to Edupedia World, your online gateway to the world of invaluable knowledge. So, in the last session, we tried to understand that what exactly financial management is, what is the nature of financial management, why is it so very imperative in the modern day world for the managers, for students, for academicians, from researchers, all, or even we can say that for people belonging to all walks of life, why is financial management so very imperative? But since we are trying to restrict ourselves to the application of financial management in the corporate world, in the business world, so we shall be trying to restrict ourselves, our discussions, to the fact that how exactly financial management is beneficial for the managers. So far, we have seen that managers are expected to take sound decisions, keeping in mind the future, keeping in mind the volatile future, the unpredictable future. We've also seen that financial management or the knowledge of the financial management plays a very crucial role in enabling the managers to take sound financial decisions so that the long-term value of the company can be enhanced and the long-term benefit should be reaped in favor of the stakeholders. We have also seen that in the modern day world, we are no longer concerned with only with the shareholders value creation, but rather we are more concerned with the enhancement of value for all the stakeholders, for all the people who are directly or indirectly connected with the people, with the company. Okay, more on the shareholders and stakeholders a bit later, but before signing off in the last session, we were discussing that why exactly financial management is so important. We came across the fact that financial resources are scarce in supply, and secondly, they require a cost of capital. Financial resources cannot be obtained; they cannot be harnessed free of cost. Rather, whatever financial resources the manager is raising from the various sources of finance, he or she is expected to pay a cost thereupon, technically known as the cost of capital or the weighted average cost of capital. We also tried to appreciate that what are the uses to which the financial resources can be put into. Rather, we can say that how exactly the financial resources of a company may be used. So we try to understand that the financial resources of the company can be used in two main purposes, in two main areas. The first one being in carrying forth economic activities, and secondly, we saw that financial resources play a very important role in ensuring a proper, efficient functioning, a proper, efficient, synchronized functioning between all the other functional areas of the management of the company. So now we shall be starting our discussion with the second part. Thereafter, we shall be moving on the first part regarding economic activities. So for the second part, a quick recap, we try to understand that financial resources are very much imperative. They play a very crucial role in enabling the day-to-day smooth operating function or day-to-day proper gelation or proper cohesion between all the functional areas. A simple diagrammatic representation shall make the things very clear for you. Over here, we can see that financial resources are lying at the nucleus. It is lying at the center, and it is being surrounded by all or few of the most important functional areas which are almost similar in all the organizations. So we are having production, we are having marketing, selling, distribution, advertising, and after sales. We are having logistics, we are having supply chain management, we are having human resources, we are having information technology, we are having the legal department, we are having the research and development. So this list is not exhaustive, it is just for representation purpose. Of course, we can think of many such small divisions, some of the tertiary divisions which can be added to these existing framework. As I said in my last session, that nowadays business firms are evolving, new and new business models are coming to the fore. So we cannot restrict ourselves only to this particular structure, but these are some of the key structures which are common, which can be commonly found across all kind of a business organization. So the idea, the point which I'm trying to drive home is that no matter whatever division we're talking about, whether we're talking about the production, we're talking about the marketing, selling, distribution, talking about the logistics, the supply chain, research development, legal, human resource, IT, none of the functional areas or none of the divisions can work smoothly in absence of proper support from the financial division, or none of the division can act smoothly if they are running short of financial resources. We can see that production happens to be one of the most vital areas of operation. Then post production, we are having the marketing, distribution, selling. So we cannot even imagine that all kind of these activities can smoothly take forth in the absence of financial resources, because in order to undertake all these activities, in order to undertake a production activity, marketing activity, we have to purchase raw materials, we have to invest into plant, machinery, other auxiliary things, and all these things, they are coming against a cost. Moreover, one of the most crucial departments nowadays happens to be your R&D or your research and development. So research and development, as we can see by referring to daily journals, newspapers, almost in each and every economic newspapers, we are finding that the CEO of the company or the managing director of the company, he or she is lying due importance upon the research and development wing. So research and development in the modern day world, as I already said, the modern day business models are becoming very dynamic. So the companies or the firms are required to think innovative ideas on an everyday basis. They need to think about such ideas by which they can launch new products, they can launch more improvised products, they can launch more such products which are more on the cutting edge technology, which are enabled with the cutting edge technology. At the same time, they are affordable for the masses, because all the companies, as I said, on a global platform, all the companies are operating and they are fighting for one coveted piece of the market share. So gathering the market share is not important. Rather, which is even more important is that once a sizable market share has been cornered by any company, that particular company has to maintain her leadership position in the market, the pole position in the market. And the leadership position can be obtained, the leadership position can be maintained in the years to come only when the companies are not willing to be complacent. On everyday basis, the company has to think about something. They have to work a lot on innovation, on new entrepreneurial venture, on some new product portfolio joining their lines. So for all this purpose, it is very imperative that the company should invest huge amount of money into research and development. As I just said, research and development, obviously research and development is one area wherein the companies require more specialized class of people. They require more specialized technician, professionals, scientists, researchers, etc. So all such high profile people, highly skilled people, highly technical people, highly experienced people, they do not come for free. So in order to bring them on board, in order to take their best services, the company need to invest a sizable amount of money in them, in the research and development team, so that they might come up with more and more such products which are going to be beneficial, or which are going to help the company maintain their innovative edge, with the help of which the particular company can maintain her global position or a leadership position in the market. For example, the very recent example I would like to present in front of you is that of Elon Musk. We all know that Elon Musk is one of the very swashbuckling or the flamboyant CEO we are having. He's an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. He's coming up with such more projects like the SpaceX project, your Mission to Mars project, your Tesla project. Why? Because his company is investing huge amount of money into research and development. So again, information technology. Students, we all know that of all the companies listed around the world, of all the companies we are having, the top valuable company, the top valued company, either they are from the information technology field, or they are from the oil and gas and mining field. I would like to drive home one point, my dear students, that in the modern day world, only that particular organization is strong, he is considered rich, who is having access to information and technology. Over here, I'm not trying to segregate information technology in two parts. What I'm trying to say is that only those companies are expected to really score big who are investing a lot into information as well as into cutting edge technology. In the modern day world, we are living in the world of artificial intelligence. Companies, tech companies, even non-tech companies, they are investing heavily into artificial intelligence, into robotics, into nanotechnology. So why are they doing these things? They are trying to do these things so that they can raise their notch, they can push the envelope in favor of more perfection, more cutting edge technology, and so that they can provide more low cost products to the customers, by the help of which they can retain their market position, or they can also increase their market position or the market dominance. So all these things, investment into production, investment into distribution activity, investment into marketing activities, hiring costly and efficient human resources, maintaining an efficient and supply chain management, prompt supply chain management, having a very formidable and robust research and development and IT enabled team. All these departments require a huge amount of financial commitment, but at the same time, if a company is in a position to flush all these individual departments with the financial resources, and the companies can ensure a more harmonious or a more gelled, more cohesive cooperation between all the departments, no wonder the companies can really go great guns in the near future. Now, one thing, now coming back to the first point, students, I would like to discuss the first point. I would like to revisit it, that to carry out the economic activities of the firm. Right now, we saw that financial resources are required to ensure a smooth and a synchronized functioning between all the functional areas. Now we shall try to shift our focus to a more imperative part, that where exactly the financial resources are used. That is the point number one. Financial resources play a very critical, a very crucial role in carrying out the economic activities of a firm. Now a question arises, a question is bound to cross our mind, that what exactly is an economic activity? What exactly is an economic activity? So how can exactly we define the word economic activity? What can be an economic activity? How can economic activity be defined? Can all the activities be defined as an economic activity? No. So just a cursory look, you will find that, as mentioned in the first stage itself, financial resources are a staple for carrying out economic activities. The question arises, how to define an economic activity? So a simple definition: an economic activity is an activity wherein production and distribution of goods and services take place. An economic activity is an activity wherein production and distribution of goods and services are undertaken so as to make them available to customers or end users. Now, once again, let's try to understand this definition, that how exactly do we define an economic activity? As the term suggests, economic activity may be best defined as all those activities in which the production and distribution of goods and services are undertaken so as to make them available to customers or end users. So as to make them available to the customers and end users. It means that whatever the production and distribution of goods and services are being taken place, they are not meant to be withheld inside the company. They are meant for a larger reach. They are expected to reach out to whom? Reach out to the customers or the end users. So whatever production, whatever manufacturing, whatever production of goods and services are being done within the company, they are expected to reach the hands of the end users on the back of a robust marketing and distribution strategy or a marketing and distribution infrastructure against a monetary consideration with the motive of earning an economic profit. Over here, students, a few of the points again become very, very pertinent. That first and foremost, in order to qualify as an economic activity, production of goods and services should take place. Point number one. Point number two, they should be distributed so that they may reach the hands of the end users. Number two. Number third, this exchange of goods and services with the end users or customers should be done in return of a monetary consideration. It means that if there is an absence of a monetary consideration, if the company which is producing the goods and services, after distributing them amongst the customers, if the company is not getting back a monetary consideration or a money's worth, then it is off, then we cannot classify such an activity as an economic activity. Last but not the least, all the economic activities are taken up with a sole motive of earning an economic profit. So first point, there should be a production of goods and services. Number two, they should be marketed and distributed in such a fashion so that they end up reaching the hands of the final users. Point number three, there should be a monetary consideration in exchange. It means the goods and services should be exchanged by the company with the end users against a monetary consideration. A price needs to be paid for that. And number four, all such production, distribution, exchange against a monetary consideration should be done with sole motive of earning an economic profit. If the motive of economic profit is missing out, then we cannot define such an activity as an economic activity. On a very simple example, if a father gifts his son a bike on his 18th birthday, is such an activity an economic activity? Yes and no both. How come? It is not an economic activity between the father and the son. Why? Because the father is not producing anything. Number one, he is not distributing anything. Number two, and number three, he is gifting it to his son. He is giving it to his son as an token of affection, as a token of appreciation, and not against any expectation of an monetary consideration. Last but not the least, the father is not expected to make any economic profit out of the transaction which is taking place between him and the son on back of a bike. But when the father is going to a distributor, when a father is going to a showroom to purchase the bike, over there it is an out and out economic activity. Why? Because a particular company, suppose X, Y, and Z, who is manufacturing the bike, that particular company who manufactured the bike, he manufactured the bike only after, or rather he produced the bike only after harnessing his raw materials, his labor forces, he used some heavy machinery for that, he used some utilities for that, first of all. Secondly, that particular company who produced the bike, he ensured that the bike should reach the proper channels of distribution, where from any person or any customer may come and purchase the bike against a monetary consideration. And last but not the least, whatever monetary consideration that particular person paid to that particular company in lieu of the bike, that amount contains two parts. Number one, the cost of production, the other overheads, as well as the economic profit which the company is expected to make by the person through selling the particular bike. So such an activity is both an economic activity and not an economic activity at the same time. If it is being done gratuitously, if it is being such an activity is being exchanged out of an affection, obviously such an activity do not qualify as an economic activity. So profit earning motive, a particular production of goods and services, facilitation to reach the end user against a monetary consideration, they are the prerequisites which are very much required for any activity to be defined as an economic activity. Now students, with the simple description of an economic activity, we can very well understand that first and foremost prerequisite was production, second distribution, third monetary consideration with a profit making motive. Is it ever possible to think of an economic activity in absence of financial resources? No, never. Never. It means that no such economic activity can ever be comprehended, it can ever be thought about if economic activities are not being supplied by financial resources. Financial resources are the prerequisite for any production activity to take place, for any post-production distribution to take place, even for the exchange of that particular produced finished good against a monetary consideration. Also financial profit is required, and the economic profit should also be in a position to be termed in terms of cash or in the financial consideration. So we can say that financial resources are of utmost importance for any company to undertake the production till the last stage of making the profits. All other, as you can see, that in the absence of financial resources, economic activities cannot take place. It is one area where financial resources are consumed the most, that is the production activity, and all other successive stages, that is namely distribution, marketing, ready availability through various distribution channels, to require financial resources. It means that as I said, the entire economic activity starts from the first stage of production. So at the very first stage, at the very onset, whenever we think about a production activity, the production activity itself involves a huge financial outlay. Production activity, whether it is being done on a small scale, medium scale, or on a large scale, it can never be thought about without investing money into, or without arranging money for carrying out the production purposes seamlessly. All the other successive stages, like that is distribution of the same, is logistic, it's supply to the hands of the end user through various distribution channels. Everything else, they are the successive stages which are the post-production activity, but even those stages also require a huge amount of capital outlay or cash outlay or the financial outlays. So we can say that the financial activities or financial resources are highly imperative for any company to, number one, ensure a smooth and an uninterrupted production, which should ultimately lead to which forms the base of all the economic activities. And secondly, financial resources are of utmost importance so as to ensure that all the other functional areas of the firm, they are operating in a very congenial manner without any hindrances. They are acting as one cohesive, one formidable unit, so that the overall growth of the company may be ensured. Now students, while discussing about the economic activity, I came across this word production quite a number of times. Now let's try to understand what is the meaning of production. I just said that production activities happen to be the basis of all the economic activities. They are the core activities based upon which the first stage of economic activities are taking place. Without production, economic activities can't even be imagined. Now the question arises that what exactly is meant by production? What is a production? So again, a simple look at a simple definition, that production is the process of converting raw materials into semi-finished goods and subsequently into finished goods with the help of inputs like labor, electricity, machinery, etc. One of the most striking features of production is that at every successive stage, a value addition or utility enhancement should be done. Okay, we shall be talking about the second part a bit later. First, let's try to understand the first leg or the first part of the definition. So once again, I will revisit the definition for you. So production is a process. Production is a process of converting raw materials into semi-finished goods. Obviously, when we are using the word process, what does it mean? That there has to be a definite roadmap, there has to be a definite trajectory, there has to be a definite way forward which need to be followed in order to ensure a smooth production. It means production cannot take place without any proper planning, without any layout. It cannot be take place in a haphazard manner. So before ensuring a production, a proper roadmap should be devised. It should be thought about by the management, and then it should be implemented. So production is a process of converting the raw materials into the semi-finished goods and subsequently into finished goods. So obviously, when we are using the word production, so production entails a process of converting what? Converting a raw material into a semi-finished good or work in progress and eventually into a finished goods. So if any such process is not undergoing the process of converting the raw materials into semi-finished goods and the finished good, then we cannot really define it as a production. Suppose a distributor is buying the end material or the end commodity from any company for reselling in the market. Will it be an economic activity? Yes, it is an economic activity, but that particular distributor is not undertaking any production. But that doesn't mean that the end product has never been produced. The end product, what we are getting in our hand, is a finished good. That finished good, if we look at the previous stages, it is very much possible, or rather it is very much essential, that those finished goods might have undergone a transition stage wherein it has been transformed from a raw material to a semi-usable goods and then ultimately to a finished good which is now ready to be used by the consumers or by the any person who wants to use it. So in order to qualify as a production activity, there has to be a change in shape. A change in shape should take place. A change in shape in respect of change should be undergone in terms of a raw material which should be changed into a semi-finished good, and finally that should be changed into a finished good. With the help of what? Will this transition, will this change take place all by itself? No, never. This change, in order to make this change happen, a proper support should be provided by the machines and other allied factors. Machine should be involved. That machinery should be ensuring the change in the shape and size. Number two, there should be a labor force, there should be manpower. The labor force should be engaged in the process of harnessing the machinery or using the machinery with the help of which this shape changing or this change or this transition from a raw material into the semi-finished good to the finished good are being taken place. And last but not the least, apart from machinery and the labor forces, there are certain allied utilities which are also required by the production house. Like allied utilities means heating, gas, light, electricity, some usable stores, some kind of repairs, etc. So we can say that the process of converting the raw materials into a semi-finished good and into the finished good with the help of a machinery, with the help of the inputs like machinery, labor, and other utilities is known as a production. But students, now coming back to the second part, there has to be a distinct addition of utility and value. As I said, the whatever end product, whatever ready to be used product we are getting in our hand, whatever ready to be used products which we are getting in our hand, that is a final product. But if we look at their previous stages, it is very much possible that they have undergone the process of their conversion into raw material to a semi-finished good to a finished good. So when we are talking about this conversion, it means that at each and every stage of a conversion, that particular product is undergoing a value addition within itself or a utility addition within itself. So it is very much quintessential for any production activities to be able to add utility or add value at every stage of its transformation. So if the value is not being added, if after using the machinery, if using the labor resources, if after using the other utilities, if a proper value addition is not being done, if a lot of wastages is being done, then that doesn't really qualify as a production. So a quick recap: for production to take place, there has to be a conversion of raw materials into semi-finished good and subsequently into finished good with the help of inputs like machinery, labor, and the other utilities. And most importantly, at every change, at every successive stage, at the every stage of the changes, a distinct value addition or an utility addition should be done, so that by the time the raw material is being converted finally into the finished good, it can be used as per the demand of the market or as per the demand of the customer. So we see that production activity happens to be the first and foremost and perhaps one of the most vital areas of any economic activity of the firm. So for any firm, it is very much important that the production activities are well devised, they are well strategized, and the wastages should be minimized. In the modern day world, there is a new concept called a lean management. So the Japanese company or the European companies, they are following this lean management very, very seriously. What is the meaning of the word lean management? Lean management simply means, in a very simple terms, lean management means that management or the companies do not want to undertake any such activity which is not adding value to the operations of the company. Any such activity which is not enhancing or which is not adding to the value of the company, such an activity is being treated as a wastage. And my dear students, in the case of production, if productions are being callous, if the production manager is not very serious, if a particular plan is not being devised, if a particular control system is not in the places, so production department is one division wherein there is a huge room for wastages, but such wastages sometimes they create a catastrophic impact on the financial resources of the company. So nowadays, of course, while being into a production process, certain wastages are absolutely unavoidable. So no matter whatever the management, how precise the management is with the planning, how meticulous the management is in execution, no matter what, certain amount of wastages, certain amount of losses, they are unavoidable. They are inadvertent. They really, nothing much can be done about that. But that doesn't mean that the management should be so very reckless with the production activities that wastages and losses are becoming the order of the day. If such thing happens, it means that something is wrong. There are certain areas, there are certain gray areas, there are certain differences which need to be fixed, there are certain loopholes, certain lacunas which need to be plugged. Because any kind of wastages eventually results into the wastage of the financial resources. So, students, as we have discussed earlier also, that financial resources, they need to be managed very judiciously, they need to be managed very properly. Why? Because financial resources are not only scarce, they are also costly. So if there is a wastage, it means the company has to pay an additional cost towards paying a higher cost of capital, which is ultimately is not going to result into an economic profit, or it is going to be an unyielding venture which no company especially in the modern day competitive world, no company wants to get into such kind of an sticky condition. So, in the successive slides, we shall be talking a bit more about the production activity, and then we shall try to understand some of the most important function known as the finance function. There are three important finance functions. First is your financing activity, second is investment activity, and third is the liquidity decisions or activities. We shall be discussing more about that, and that is a really a very area of a keen interest, as well as it is highly imperative, because these three finance functions, that is the financing, investing, as well as the liquidity functions, they are the three structures, they are the three formidable pillars based upon which the entire structure of financial management has been erected. That's all for now, my dear students. Thank you for being such a patient listener, and thank you for listening to the Edupedia World videos, your online gateway to the world of invaluable knowledge. Thank you, students.